Welcome to the August 6th, 2024 Public Services Committee. If you're going to approach podium to speak, please turn it on, identify yourself, mute your cell phones, or turn them off. And with that,
Number 10, resolution supporting the Clean Crow Creek Initiative on behalf of the governing body for the city of Cheyenne, Wyoming.
okay, we have a staff report.
Good afternoon, Chairman Roybal and Public Service Committee. I'm Dr. Michelle Aldrich, and I'm doing the staff report for this resolution today as one of the sponsors. This resolution is a result of a meeting that was held with Mr. DeLu from Frog Creek Partners, as well as Councilman White, Councilman Roybal, Councilman Dr. Mark Rennie, and myself a few weeks ago. And we had the opportunity for Mr. DeLu to show us the gutter bins that his company has created and were donated generously by a variety of individuals and nonprofit organizations and service organizations here in our community several years ago. He was able to remove the grate and show us the actual bin itself and talk about how those are emptied and what it saves as far as silt and trash ending up in the Crow Creek and its waterways. As a result, we have drafted this resolution to encourage our inclusion and our cooperation and continued support of keeping the Crow Creek clean. We do know we have a generous corporate partner in our community who would like to have a net zero impact on our waterways based on the water that they're using through their data centers. And we're hoping that with this resolution, we'll pave the way for that corporate partner to be able to make a donation to continue to fund the purchase of these gutter bins, and also perhaps looking at operation and maintenance to maintain those. And with that, I would stand for any questions.
Any questions from committee?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Dr. Aldrich, I'm familiar with the initiation of this program and how important it is. I want to be sure that our vac truck can hold that vacuum, I guess, and go from one gutter bin to the next, or does it have to stop, reactivate the vacuum and then go to the next bin?
And so that's a great question, Councilman Laybourne. Our understanding is that there is an attachment that can connect to our vacuum trucks that can actually be used to clean out those gutter bins. And there is also the possibility of being able to, right now, I believe we're cleaning them out twice a year, is I believe what Mr. DeLu shared with us. He is joining us virtually. He showed up in person yesterday, and it was wrong. It was the wrong committee meeting. So he may be able to answer that for us as well.
Any further questions from committee before we go?
Mr. Chair.
Through you.
I spoke with Dr. Aldrich and the chairman earlier. I love the concept. My only concern is the language in the now therefore be it resolved by the governing body of the city of Cheyenne, Wyoming, that staff of the city will support the Clean Crow Creek initiative and its goals. When I read that, I thought there was a separate initiative out there that a standalone document with goals, etc. When I read it, that's what I interpreted, and apparently that's not true. Is that correct?
My understanding is that there is not a separate document. I believe that this is related to an initiative that happened several years ago, about cleaning up Crow Creek. I was hoping that West Bay might be on today to be able to address whether that is an actual document. I believe it's related to our DEQ a requirement to maintain our Crow Creek and also, I believe it's called an MS4 letter that, we have been, working with the DEQ on, but, Brian may be able to shed some light on that as well.
Thank you.
Okay, any further questions for Dr. Aldridge? Okay, we have public comment.
Brian, you should be able to unmute yourself.
Okay, hello. Thank you. Hi, this is Brian. I don't know how to turn my video on. For some reason, it's showing no video. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, good. Thank you. Dr. Aldrich and city council members, I appreciate you meeting today to talk about this. To address a couple of questions, the Clean Crow Creek Initiative is not a standalone document. It's more just of initiative to support whatever activities that we can to help clean up our watershed and our environment around the city. The document, the MS4 permit that Councilman Aldrich mentioned, is the main overriding regulatory document that drives water decisions in the state and the city. Gutter bins are specifically mentioned within the MS4 document that they will be cleaned more than once per year. I was actually, like I said, I was down in Cheyenne yesterday, and several gutter bins still haven't been cleaned this year. Now it's August already. So I'm not sure what the schedule is. So I don't think they're being cleaned twice a year, but hopefully at least once. The method, I'm sorry, I didn't see who actually asked the question. Maybe Dr. Rennie, about how are they cleaned with the vacuum truck. First of all, I understand that the current vacuum truck that the city owns is pretty old. Mr. Bill Gonzalez has told me that a couple times. It's old and it's got its flaws and so forth, but I do understand that there is a new vacuum truck on its way. Regardless, I've gone through many learnings over the years of producing these gutter bins in the state and working with municipalities around the nation and North America. One of the easiest ways to do this is a very simple attachment on the end of any vacuum truck that's out there. It's just a reducer from like a 10-inch to a 4-inch, and you have a long hose. Not to get too far in the weeds, but the methods currently being employed to clean them in Cheyenne could definitely be improved. I've offered the service offered to help. Have not been accepted on that yet, but I'm hoping that the intent of this is for me to support this initiative in whatever way I can. I'm thankful that you guys are at the city of Cheyenne is taking steps in on this path forward. We do have a willing and eager corporate sponsor wanting to donate more of these to the city. I don't want to overburden the city either. Be about like giving 100 horses to somebody that has a 1/4 acre of land. What good are they going to do? How are they going to feed them? So we need to make sure that we're able to, service them and so forth. But first steps first is that we become willing partners to the businesses that are willing to help give back and protect our environment in a way that helps us meet regulatory goals, clean water goals. It also helps keeps pipes cleaner. There's so many win-win-win situations to this. The one downfall is now we have to maintain them. I'm just going to be blunt about that. Now we got to maintain them, and we can do that. We can figure that out. Right now, we just need to support it. And lastly, I think Mr. Jeff Geyer from the Laramie County Conservation District may be in the room, and he really was instrumental, to begin this. He's boots on the ground for protecting Crow Creek and with the Conservation District. And he and I have worked together for years, and I'm very grateful for his friendship, partnership, and persistence in helping protect Crow Creek. Maybe he has some comments anywhere, and I'll gladly entertain any other questions you may have. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian.
Just for the record, this is Brian Durlow from Frog Creek Partners, Casper, Wyoming is my residence.
Okay, thank you, Brian. Do you committee have any questions? Okay, any further public comment? Good.
Jeff Geyer, Laramie County Conservation District. I would add on to what Brian said. We're under, the city of Cheyenne is under the MS4 permit. And that is beneficial for us because we are allowed regulatory authority over what gets discharged into our waterways. Some of the concerns, well, one of the concerns we have is the listing of Crow Creek for sediment as a listed stream through the DEQ, as someone mentioned before. And so this, per observation, in 2018 or 19, when we started the program, we had 10 gutter bins placed downtown. And in 1 year of collection, and the district took care of those, Conservation District took care of those in partnership with the Rotarians. We basically hauled in about a ton of material in 10 bags. If we have 100 gutter bins, multiply that out, I think it was 1,700 pounds, so 17,000 pounds per 100 gutter bins. Most of that was sediment. And so that's why the initiation of this project back in fall of 2018, because of our listing on Crow Creek. And we had a bunch of other projects going on in Crow Creek. So this is just one leg of a system that actually benefits our stream. So.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from committee? Okay, any further public comment?
Good afternoon, Chairman, members of the Public Services Committee, Tom Cobb, City Engineer. So I do need to convey some information to all of you. We've met, Mr. Dooley has come to us before on this same matter. And Public Works, actually, we sat down with the mayor and went through their concerns. I can't speak for Public Works, but they do have quite a bit of difficulty maintaining these, and it actually puts them in a bit of harm's way. They're having to, right now, the equipment that is available to them, first of all, that equipment hasn't been ordered, so I believe it's about a $2 million truck that for the new one to come in. I know that for sure. Secondly, the truck they have now, they have to dump these gutter bins out. There is no easy attachment that can fit on. It ends up going up into their vac truck. They have to dump the debris on the ground. And right now we've got debris, including needles and other sources of material that we don't want people to touch. So we've had a lot of difficulty. We asked the mayor at that time that why we support our MS4 and the idea of these gutter bins until we get this new truck. Our preference would be that we didn't install them right now until we had the ability to afford the new truck, just for the harm's way of the people that are doing the work. I can't speak for them. They can speak much better than that, but I do know that was conveyed to me directly. What we asked them is that we're looking at an expansion of the pump house wetland area with a more efficient system to use that for our sediment control, rather than these gutter bins, and also implementing sumps in all of our inlets, which we used to do, to be able to contain the debris. And again, we think this is a very important aspect, but right now with the forces and equipment we have, they just don't have the ability to maintain them.
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Laybourne, go ahead.
I have some questions for you, Mr. Bob. I'm glad you brought up the pump house wetlands. I was over there the other day with Wes Bay and Doug Kwan talking about, am I correct that there was just more sediment coming down than was anticipated in the original design? Is that correct?
Yes, sir. And then they didn't give us the ability to maintain it very easily. So we're trying to make some modifications to that outlet structure. Sorry, Mr. Chairman, through you, sir,
Yeah.
to Councilman Laybourne. Yes.
So, for instance, the gutter bins downtown by the depot should primarily be catching the debris. And yet, as it comes down that rather large storm sewer to the pump house wetland, that is more for the sediment. Is that correct?
Mr. Chairman, through you to Mr. Leghorn. Yes, sir.
So I'm curious, this $2 million vac truck is our corporate partner here going to help us with that?
Thank you for that question. Dr. Michelle Aldrich, responding to Councilman Laybourne. One of the things that I would like to point out is that the funding from the corporate partner is yet to be laid out, what that would look like. It's not unreasonable in talking with Mr. Delau to look at equipment that would be needed to maintain that, or operations and maintenance to do that. I would also wanted to point out to you that in the last whereas, that it allows for hiring third-party vendors or allowing third parties to clean the stormwater filters themselves with city approval. There are companies, according to our visit with Mr. Delau, that actually contract with different cities and travel around to clean out these gutter bins on a regular basis. And so that contracting with that entity or having a third party is something we definitely could approach our corporate partner with and for consideration for that funding.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Laybourne.
Well, this is a very worthwhile effort that shows how things have changed in Cheyenne, that we would have this assistance from a corporate partner. And so having worked with the Conservation District on these issues for quite a few years, I'm very much in support of this resolution with the understanding that there are issues to be resolved as we proceed here. And so, but as I read, the basic commitment is to work on how we're going to be able to accomplish this. And we know from the past gutter bin experiences quite a bit. And we know that particularly, I'm very aware that where that storm sewer comes out down into the pump house wetlands and then into the creek is the main site of the deterioration of the water quality. So it's unfortunate that we have some bumps along the way, but there's just no doubt that this is important. I believe it's important to the people of Cheyenne, and is steps that we're taking to deal with what, when I was a child, that we dumped raw sewage right into the creek. And then the Clean Water Act changed that. But I believe that with the assistance of the Conservation District and the expertise in our city engineer's office, we can resolve these issues and proceed with this. So I'm very much in favor of this resolution. Thank you.
Okay. Any further public comment? Nobody has. Okay. Go ahead.
Hi, thank you. This is Brian Durlow again. Thank you. Mr. Cobb, those are good comments, and I appreciate you attending this meeting. And I did want to readdress some of the cleaning around this, because it seems to be the main pushback. We're offered all these free filters. But then we don't want to overburden public works with equipment and time and so forth. But I will state, just for the record, I've offered multiple times to come down there and help increase the efficiency of cleaning. And I've been turned down multiple times. I know that they're removing the entire gutter bin from the drain to clean out the sumps of the storm drain because they don't want to get, quote, sideways with the DEQ. The whole reason that we have a filter in there in the first place is to stop the stuff from hitting the sump. And the gutter bit, the frames don't need to be removed. I've tried to make these things sailor simple and private proof, so they're super simple to clean. And I know that they're taking about 15 minutes to clean a single gutter bin right now. And I know I've been on site with other crews that are cleaning them between 4 and 7 minutes or less, about 4 to 5 minutes. So, but I think the main point, Mr. Chairman, that I'd like to make is what Councilwoman Aldrich made is not only supporting the Clow Creek Initiative and accepting this generous sponsorship from a corporate sponsor that is looking to replenish as much water as they use per year in Cheyenne or more, is I'm trying to work with them that they help cover the cost of maintenance for the next 10 years as well. But even then I faced resistance. I'm like, well, what if we put them in? And I've faced resistance left, right, and center from the public works director. And, you know, I appreciate the frontline workers. I really do. During COVID, there wasn't hardly a day that went by where I wasn't thankful for the clean water, the water in the toilet, the water in the sink, the lights that switched on, and the gas that turned on. I mean, public works direct people are essential workers. But we've got to, if we're going to clean up this environment, clean up our watershed, elbow grease has got to be used. And I'm trying everything that I can to help out our capital city to have a cleaner Crow Creek. And I'm just looking for some assistance in this. And I would love to work with more with the engineering department to help make this happen and make it more efficient. And then, you know, there's a speak about the sponsor potentially donating money towards the cost of a vacuum truck. I've never heard of a vacuum truck costing $2 million. That's about 4 times more than what I've heard they cost. But that's how it is. My final remarks that I'll state is whether it was trash or whatever, but the city of Cheyenne did receive a letter of violation from the Wyoming DEQ a couple years ago for stormwater pollution. I understand that it's around sediment, as Mr. Geyer was speaking about, I think around construction activities, but nonetheless, it's sediment that was causing the violation. The next step is a notice of violation where there's a fee imposed. One of my clients that we worked with for the past 5 years was sued by the in the state of Colorado, the US EPA, and a downstream city. They're now in a consent decree, and they're required to spend $460 million on stormwater infrastructure over the next 20 years because of their mismanagement of their stormwater. Last year, Colorado Springs, we started working with them 5 years ago, and last year they were voted by the EPA as the gold medal winner of stormwater management programs. They went from worst to first in about 5 years, and they had to pay for all their stuff, and they had to tax their citizens. Here, we're offered an opportunity to receive it free. So I'll offer any other comments or questions with that. You can sense my passion. Thank you, folks, for supporting this. And Mr. Cobb, I would be happy to meet with you again to discuss this. Thank you.
Okay, any further public comment?
Mr. Chairman, through you, I just wanted to point out the NOV was related directly to the pump house wetland area. Before my time, there was no maintenance done on that particular facility. That has been cleaned and the NOV has been removed. We're no longer, we're slates clean with DEQ. And in regard to the amount or how much the actual truck cost, I do not know, but it was somewhere upwards over $1 million for sure. I can get that number from Public Works. They have that number exactly. We'll have them furnish it to you.
Okay, thank you. Any further public comment? Public comment? Hearing none, may I have a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I move to adopt.
Second. I have a motion and a second. Any questions or comments from committee?
Mr. Chairman, very briefly, I think this is worth pursuing. I think it's worth pursuing a vendor that maybe can do this work. Keep it out of Public Works. They've obviously got plenty to do, so I would love to see us see if we can find an outside vendor. I'm sure it's less than $2 million.
Okay.
I'm not positive, but I'm pretty sure. So, thank you.
Okay, any further questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Okay, that motion will move forward. And being as there's no further business in front of the Public Services Committee, we are adjourned.